2 men were arrested on Sunday after trespassing charges after a drone came dangerously close to Logan International Airport. And I do want to put up this here from a Boston PD talking about these 2 suspects that were arrested following this hazardous drone operation on Long Island, what they call the Boston Harbor Island. As the incident began Saturday afternoon, a Boston police officer detected an unmanned aircraft system, or UAS, operating dangerously close to the airport. The officer advanced monitoring technology to identify the drone's location, the flight history. Largely uninhabited Boston Harbor Island. The Boston Harbor Police Unit was dispatched to the island and found 3 people inside the Long Island Health Campus. The suspects fled on foot. 2 were captured, and a drone was found inside of 1 person's backpack. So we're continuing to follow this very closely here on Live Now from Fox. I do want to bring in to the conversation Boston Herald reporter Matthew Medsger. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about this arrest? What happened in Boston on Sunday?
So yeah, it turns out it was Saturday evening. The Boston police, like you said, using their own monitoring technology, noticed that there was a drone flying close enough to Logan International Airport that they were concerned about it. Using their tools, they were able to figure out its location, its altitude, flight history, and where the operators were, which is a small island in the Boston Harbor, Long Island. Like you said, generally unoccupied. They would have had to taken a boat out there. And yeah, I guess the Boston Harbor went out and found 3 men. All of them fled. 2 of them were caught, and now in custody are Robert Duffy of Charlestown and Jeremy Folcik of Bridgewater, both facing trespassing charges.
Yeah, it is very interesting as we talk about these reported drone sightings and the proximity to Logan International Airport. And if you ever flying into Boston, you know it's right there on the water. Can you talk about the proximity to this location of where these people were and just the fact that they were close to the airport? That's what tipped authorities off, correct?
Yeah, you've pretty much nailed it. When you fly into Logan, one way or the other, you're flying over these harbor islands. So any aircraft that were to go straight up from Long Island could theoretically put itself right into the path of a incoming plane in Logan. And that's specifically what the Boston police said, is that when these drones, though they are small, find themselves in the path of a plane, the plane would then have to veer out of the way to not hit that. And that's what causes a danger, is that if a plane might have to shift their trajectory to deal with an unexpected drone in the way. And we're talking maybe a dozen miles away from where the planes would be coming in. So right in an approach vector.
Yeah, right there in the approach, and that is dangerous for all those commercial flights that fly in at a very busy airport there in Boston. I want to ask you, because they found the drone in the backpack of one of these people that are arrested. There's trespassing charges. Can you discuss some of the laws in place there locally around Boston? Because it's not against the law to fly drones. It is against the law, maybe close to proximity to the Logan International Airport. Can you discuss that a little bit and what you're reporting on there?
Yeah, well, I'm sure the state of Massachusetts has its own particular laws. I can't cite anything off the top of my head. I'm certainly not an expert on drones, but I can tell you that these things are regulated by the Federal Aviation Administration, as are all flying objects in the United States. And the FAA, within the last year or so, changed their rules to allow people to fly drones at night. And some officials have said that this may be the reason people are seeing so many of them in the sky right now, is because people are now allowed to put drones up at night, where before it wasn't something you were going to see flying around. So while I'm sure Massport has its own set of rules, the real governing body here is the FAA.
All right, very, very interesting. And that is a very good point, as people kind of look to the skies more so at night based on those new regulations, or lack thereof, for people being able to fly drones at night. I also want to talk about the larger scope of all of these reported sightings, a lot of them coming in New Jersey, just down along the coast. This is a post from the governor there in Massachusetts, Maura Healey, saying, "I'm aware of the growing number of drone sightings across Massachusetts, monitoring the situation closely." The Mass State Police are working together with local and federal partners, is prepared to support federal authorities in the jurisdiction over the airspace. How pressing has the local government there, the governor of Massachusetts and other, taken some of these drone sightings at large? And are you guys at the Boston Herald hearing an influx of some of these reports?
Yeah, one of our reporters just last week was speaking with a resident of Weston, Massachusetts, who described a surreal experience seeing several drones flying around their neighborhood. It wasn't the first time somebody has reported a drone within the last couple of weeks. We certainly haven't seen the level of activity that's being reported out of New Jersey, but it's obviously gotten to a point where it's come to the attention of Governor Maura Healey, which is what I'm sure brought her to issue that statement. But yeah, we've ourselves have been hearing from residents of Harwich and, like I said, Weston, places along near the coast, Cape Cod, that have seen these drones or seen what appears to them to be a drone.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Matthew Medsger, thank you so much for joining us. Great reporting, as always, as it's a phenomenon that we're continuing to look into. Of course, local law enforcement and officials continue to say there's no threat to public safety. Have Mass officials reiterated that at all? Have you heard from them?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any indication that there is any threat. Sources that I've talked to haven't told me that they're worried of some sort of act of terrorism or anything like that. It seems to me at this point, everybody's just watching to figure out what exactly is going on, whether it is just like the case of these two arrested men, people playing around, or if there's some other explanation for why these drones are in the air.
Yeah, that's perfection to circle back around to it, as those two people arrested near Logan International Airport in Boston, flying one small drone just near some of the airspace they shouldn't have been in. Matthew, thank you again. I appreciate your time here. Great reporting as always here on Live Now. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's continue on here on Live Now from Fox. Great reporting, as always, talking about this. The two arrested in connection with those drone flights in Boston. I want to put up one more post here from Maura Healey talking about this. The governor of Massachusetts saying drone operators should adhere to all applicable laws, regulations, and appropriate operating procedures, ensuring the safe and responsible use of drones. So